Hello everyone, it is Websy Wongi. I hope everyone is doing well this fine day. I was going to have a chit chat about a few things that come to my attention and come to my mind about just sort of these topics when it comes to paganism, kind of an update on how I feel about it. A lot has changed in these past few years since I started out in this whole path of paganism in Wicca. So if that's the type of video you like to listen to, continue listening. If not, then it's not for you. But I do welcome those who do sit and listen to what I say. I feel like everyone is learning at this point in life. I feel like when it comes to the topic of paganism, I've learned a lot throughout these years because it was back in 2017 of October when my fiance Shauna and I started this new path of paganism. It just seems like here lately there's a lot of things I see on these groups. There's a lot of talk about how younger witches come into this practice, and a lot of them are really uneducated. A lot of them use it as a tool to get what they want, which is not a bad thing. I personally feel like when it comes to this path, it's a sacred path. It's a path that not all want to walk towards and uncover on their own journey, and that's the thing. It's your own journey, whether you're into paganism or not. Everyone has their choice to live the way that they choose. I just feel like a lot of these groups on Facebook or whatnot that I'm a part of, it just seems like half of the time when younger people come into it, they're really uneducated. And I would admit I was very uneducated. I still don't know everything there is to know about paganism, but I feel like for the past few years, since 2017, I've really gotten understanding about it. For you that don't know what paganism is, it's an umbrella term, like I've said in the past in my past videos. There's not one set way to practice paganism, because I know there's different forms of different beliefs, different type of witches, like Wiccan, electric witches, and so forth. There's so many things out there. Not everyone believes in like the threefold laws, which is basically, the cause and effect of things. Not everyone believes that you should do spells to hex or curse people. I do feel like everyone has their own set of rules, everyone has their own beliefs, which is fine. But like I was saying, time and time again, I'm seeing on these groups, younger people just want to come into paganism because they either want their ex to come back, they want a love spell. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying doing those are wrong. I just feel like there's an incorrect information a lot of people don't understand about witches and paganism. That it's not so much of the take. I recently learned this from my fiance, is that so many people, when they get in this practice, they do it because it's a cool thing. It's a trend that goes around. And a lot of people aren't really educating themselves. They're using it for their own use and taking everything from nature, the information they've been given, whether it's Disney that taught them, whether it's the media that taught them, whether it's incorrect information, they're taking it as facts. And I feel like everyone has to come to their own understanding and their own interpretation what the heck they want their path to be when it comes to paganism. But I feel like if you want to do any of this sort, whether it becomes spells, love spells, trying to get your ex back, there's some guidelines you need to follow when it comes to those. those are kind of useless. And I say they're useless not for the fact to offend anyone, but they're useless because one of the things we're not really taught when it comes to paganism is the law of attraction. If you don't understand what the law of attraction, there's so much information out there. So what I'm getting at when it comes to manifestation, law of attraction, is everyone uses it. They just don't know that they're using it or aware that they're using it. You know, if you want whether love to come to you or money come to you. And I learned this from a tarot reader that I watch, and he talks a lot about manifestation, named Rich Lobb. So check him out. He's even on Facebook too. He has his own page. He talks about law of attraction, manifestation, because he was in teaching and stuff. So I learned a lot of stuff from him. But when it comes to attracting love and money in our lives, the best way, and I kind of emphasize it in my other video about attracting a child. You want a child. Well, the first of all is you need to be in that mindset. You need to higher your vibration. And when I mean that, you need to be already at that time of what you receive, whether it's a child, whether it's a lover you're trying to attract, whether it's money you're trying to attract. And this is where people get it wrong and twisted. They feel like if they put a spell on someone that it's going to turn out right, and they do it in such a way where it's not right to put a curse or a hex or even a love spell. And a lot of people, especially the wise witches, will teach this without someone's permission, because you're going against their free will. You know, you want the same thing in your life, but do you want somebody to do something without you knowing, like stealing from you, doing something behind your back without you knowing? There's a way of doing things, and I think a lot of people misconstrue the concept when it comes to paganism or witches or witchcraft. They get it all twisted up. And I'm here just to set out things straight for those of you who are uneducated in itself. And younger people I've come across on these groups, they just do it because it's cool, or they're just so obsessed. And I recently saw this yesterday. A girl was so obsessed with her ex. She's asking for a spell. And I'm not against spells. I just feel like some spells in itself are pointless. Like I said, cause and effect. You do something, like I said, it's the threefold law, and three things fold will come back to you. You put out good energy, you're going to get that. It's just common sense. It's not a lecture. And I've heard someone argue with me about that. All she's asking for is a spell. Well, it's common sense not to do certain things like that. And am I saying doing love spells is wrong? No. If you know what you're doing and what you're going to get yourself into, and that's another thing. When you do a spell, make sure when you do a spell that you know what the hell you're doing. You have assistance by someone who's done that spell and it came out successful. But to literally want to either put your intention out to the universe that you want this person to come into your life, and you're doing it against their free will, would you want the same thing? Would you want someone to do something against your own free will? I don't think so. And that's a lot of people that they don't look into. So the best way to attract anything in your life that I've learned and come to understand is you're already in that mindset. You make sure your frequency matches that. And then you just request what you want to the universe and let go your hands of control of that. That's how simple it is. And I feel like a lot of people, if they want their ex to come back, well, first they have to understand, why did they leave that ex in the first place? Or why did that ex leave them? And the pain that they went through, the relationship, how it was disorganized and disarray and disoriented and toxic. Well, it's like, why would you honestly want that back into your life? And they don't learn. They just live in that obsession of their ex. And it was weird because a girl posted about that, how her ex blocked her and she's obsessed with him and love him. Well, that's not true love to begin with. True love is unconditional. True love doesn't force their will on you. So keep in mind, if you're curious about anything that has to do with paganism, Wicca, witchcraft, please talk to people that been at least a year or two into the path and know what the hell they're talking about. Now me, I'm not a professional about a lot of the things, but I do know some of my facts. So it's just ask those who know it instead of just trying to figure out how you do this. Like I've heard people have had stories where they do Ouija boards and they end up having weird, strange phenomenals happen to them or backlash on them and they do things wrong. Now I don't personally use a Ouija boards, but I just feel like if you're going to do anything that is pertaining Ouija boards, love spells, any of that nature, do talk to someone who actually had experience of how to do those successfully. But like I said, if you're wanting someone to come, I don't know why people are so obsessed with the topic about exes. Like, I get it. You're obsessed with your ex. You so-called love your ex. But if it's not meant to be in your life and they blocked you apparently, then there's no need to keep trying to force things to come together when it's not. It's not meant to be, Just close the door and walk away and go through the healing of it. A lot of people don't understand that. But enough said about that. Another reason I wanted to make this topic is so many people get the misconception about what paganism is. Just recently something happened where someone that knows my fiance, his family member, had no clue he was even in Wiccan. And for the past few years, he's been on this path. And it's like, how can you not see this? And it's like they're clueless. And to me, you're not playing with fire. If you know what the hell you're doing when it comes to any practice, go at it. Do what you want. It's your free will. But no one's going to tell you what to do. That's just judgmental, bigoted people. And my biggest concern is about people that put judgment on people because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or they've heard of people that had bad experience which dabbling into witchcraft and stuff, bad things happen to me, or bad things happen to them. So that's just putting your projection onto other people saying, don't dabble in this because I heard so and so or my family got killed or whatever. I'm like, that doesn't mean we're uneducated. That doesn't mean what you see as your facts are facts. It's like you need to do your research. And I think a lot of people, they own to, well, if this happened to so-and-so, why are you doing it? I mean, I get that. Try to understand what that person's coming from, but also don't be bigoted just because something bad happened to your family with it, Some people just have bad experience, and a lot of people go into witchcraft just dabbling here and there, and they don't expect anything because they don't do their research, they don't talk to people, they just put it in their own hands, and before you know it, they got demons knocking at their door. Well, that's why you need to do your research. You need to talk to people who know what the hell they're talking about. And my biggest pet peeve when it comes to people who are uneducated about it, pet peeve drives me absolutely bonkers. People that literally put witchcraft on everything, saying yoga is, which it's not. Yoga, I believe, originated from India, and a lot of people say, oh, it opens portals to demons or whatever. It's like, get over yourself. Not everything is witchcraft, especially these people that say it's witchcraft, or they hear another person say it's witchcraft when clearly it's not. Or like the stupidest thing I heard recently, that I think it happened in 1705 or something. Someone thought red lipstick was banned, or lipstick in general, because it seduced men in marriages. It's like, are you seriously? It's lipstick. You know what I mean? People can twist things and make it sound good to their lifestyle. It's because it resonates to them, or it's in some way bringing up fear and trauma, which I get that. A lot of us, like I recently had something happen where someone brought up something that had to do with children, and I'm like, this really reminds me about my ex, but just let it go. Because it's not used to, it's not a good thing to project onto people your triggers and your past traumas, because you need to heal still from it, and something still bothers you. Well, it's something to look at and really do some self-reflecting and really go in that part of healing. Because I feel like a lot of people get triggered, which it's normal to get triggered about things that happen to you, trauma, and a lot of it's fear-based. A lot of you people who, you've heard people have had bad experience with witchcraft. Well, that was their experience. That doesn't mean it's going to be for everyone. That doesn't mean this person is a criminal, or they slaughtered babies or fed people poison or something. It doesn't mean that's their other people's stories. Other people have their own stories to write, and it's like we need to rewrite what we think paganism or witchcraft is, because it's not what people think. And a lot of people, when they put it in the Bible and stuff, they put it there because they fear. They fear the power and the ability people have to realize that it doesn't take a rocket science when it comes to like real magic. Real magic has to do with law of attraction. Real magic has to do with manifestation. And people don't understand that. They think it's just a fuzzy-duzzy thing you see on Disney, when it's really not. You have magic within yourself. Everyone has the ability to be a witch. And that's pretty much not necessarily taking things into your own power to let it happen, but having respect about yourself, having a sense of air that you know what the hell you're talking about. Loving nature, respecting nature. And a lot of people, when they look at it, especially in the people in Christianity, they look at, paganisms are people that worship other gods, and there's only one God, when in fact there's many gods. And in fact, that's another topic. But basically what I'm getting at here is a lot of people, based off of their past traumas, onto what they hear about paganism, instead of having their own belief, having their own time and place where they can actually do their own research. Like, what is this? And it used to bother me, like in the beginning, when I would hear people make statements like, well, this person was into witchcraft and then they went back to Christianity because they got scared, they read the Bible, they repented of their sins. Well, that's because they were uneducated when they dabbled in it, and they got freaked out, And that's the thing when it comes to fear. If you don't know something, of course you're going to have judgment on it. Of course you're going to be fearful of what it looks like, because you don't do your research. And the thing is, you can't have a balance to life. You need the negative, you need the positive as well, but also to blatantly destroy people. And it used to bother me in the beginning. I've mentioned this before in my other videos. When people feel like they need to hex people, they want people to feel some type of pain and justice and revenge. Well, I've learned, and especially when I've researched a little bit into the Course of Miracles, which that talks about everything we see. And I've recently heard Rich Lob say this: everything we see is not how we see, or as it is, but how we see it. Pretty much a projection. It's an illusion. A lot of the stuff we see is an illusion. The only thing that's real is love. And I feel like the best revenge you can do, and I've said it time and time again, is forgiveness. Forgive those that have hurt you. Don't cause harm to people just because they've hurt you constantly. True love forgives. And the thing is, people said forget. Well, it's hard to forget what people have done. But there's ways in therapy that you can go through where you start looking at those that have hurt you, not as a person that has tremendously caused pain, but look at them as if they were a complete stranger. You never talked to them, met them, and like it never happened. Accept the fact that whatever's happened, but don't wallow in that you're the victim for the rest of life. when that was just something you had to go through, something you had to experience. And a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to revenge. Why put so much time and energy to see people destroyed, to see people want to feel some type of pain that you felt, when honestly, we've all felt pain. Everyone goes through pain. Even the person who's the predator, they go through some type of pain. And I've said countless times, in a past life, if you believe that, which some of you may not, they could have been the victim at one point. Maybe their parents victimized them. Maybe someone in their family victimized them. Maybe a complete stranger victimized them on the street or something, caused pain. It all goes back to coming back to the truth of reality, that we're all connected. We all have the inner guidance, the inner voice of spirit within us. And it's nothing outside of us. And a lot of people think that, like, there's this separation from God and the existence of God, when we have that source within us. We are God. We created this place. And a lot of people don't get that, but it's because they're in their own projection, their own reality. We create our reality. And I feel like when it comes to law of attraction manifestation, it's pretty much the cause and effect of things. And that's what I love about paganism. It really opened my eyes to how life should have been for me. You know, I've had to go through a lot of painful experience and trauma, and like I'm going through this therapy book, and it's really helped me understand that sometimes even the most traumatic events, like it was saying in the book, the woke therapy book, it was saying I had to go back to good and bad events, or successful moments and not so successful moments from 2019 to 2009. A lot has happened in those years. There's good and bad experience I went through. There's a lot of really dark places I was in. And, you know, our experiences shape us, or mold us. They don't define us, but they create a story of our own. But that doesn't have to be where we literally live at, you know. You don't have to plague your thoughts. And I feel like the more we put so much intention and so much negative energy to those that have victimized us in some way, the more we create that and plague our heart and mind, when it could be reversed. Instead of looking at what happened years ago, look at it and empower yourself to move forward and move past those limitation or those limiting beliefs about yourself. And that's one thing I love about paganism. It helps you understand how, like, physics work, how things create itself, how evolution itself, things evolve, and people want to, you know, not even come to the idea that things evolve. We evolve throughout years. We're not going to be the same person we were yesterday, and deny the facts of science, you know, per se, or deny the facts of evolution, which that's another time. But I just feel like if you have so much hate for those that have hurt you, change that around and use it as empowerment. Like, you know, let's say you were bullied for the rest of your life. Let's say you were beaten for the rest of your life, or at a young age or whatever. You could be the victim, or you could look at yourself and do some type of meditation healing where you go back and save yourself. And I had to learn that myself. There were many times where I had to go back and save myself. A lot of people put the emphasis on something outside saving, or you're waiting for that Prince Charming, or you're waiting for God to come through, when pretty much we're already in that realm as it is. We just have to ask for assistance, whether it's our angels, and a lot of people don't talk about that. They just think it's this, oh, we have a guardian angel and they exist. Well, they don't even ask the guardian angels to protect you. or ascending masters, which I have a weird relationship with that thought, because I feel like ascending masters, a lot of you don't really know what that is, and that's fine. But I always look at the geese as ascending masters. It's like, oh, they didn't show up today. Because I feel like they're in some type like angels, but they're more of beings or entities that help people ascend to the next level of their growth, their spiritual growth, or their teachers, and help them ascend to a higher level of consciousness. But I feel like with all this hate and bigotry these days, I feel like people need to stop asking for spells. And I feel like, your words in itself are spells, And I feel like a lot of people are just so obsessed with getting their ex back, or they just want their ex to feel so much pain. It drives me nuts, because I see it every now and then. People post these things about their ex, and it just makes me roll my eyes. It's like, yeah, you've had a shitty life, or you've had a shitty experience with your ex, but why not turn that around to empower yourself and look at your ex as a human being that you both had to go through experiences with them or each other for your soul growth, and look at that person as a person with emotion, and realize, you both go through pain. You both have been victimized. You both experienced hardship, whether you want to admit it or not. But I feel like people hold this resentment, this anger and bitterness about their ex, that they can't even see them as new. It's like everyone almost worships a baby. Okay, I'm getting to a point. Then I'm going to close. Everyone worships, or their lover, or whatever they're with, a baby. They're new, they're cute and cuddly. But nobody really changes it around as someone who's victimized you. And it's like, I'm not trying to in any way offend anybody when I say this, but I feel like if you brain or twist your mind a little bit to the other type of lens, to 20/20 vision, and see things from a clearer standpoint, you know what I'm talking about. Or just try it. Try it at least and see how it is. I mean, if you have to go through this cycle of like letting your emotions out with the hate and the bigotry about your ex or whatever, do it. That's part of healing. Feeling emotions is okay. What they've done and how you feel about what they've done is valid. It's just, I feel like as much as people put emphasis on, oh, look at this cute baby and they're new, I feel like if you change it around and you look at this person that has hurt you tremendously and look at them as they're a new person. You've never met them. You don't even know what they've done to you. You don't even know what they've done to people, and you look at them as if none of that happened. That's a memory that is forgotten. And I look at that person as, they're a pretty cool person. They're pretty decent. And it's like, a lot of people, I feel like they would think I'm nuts for saying that. But I feel like if you brainwash yourself as much as you brainwash yourself with the negative garbage you feed yourself, you brainwash yourself to think more positive than to plague yourself with all these negative thoughts about, look what they've done to me and they deserve justice. It's like, just focus on yourself. That's what I just want to blatantly tell people, is put emphasis on your self-care, your love. Because it's like you're literally putting pressure on that thing so much that no wonder you're unhappy. No wonder you're not really functioning right in life, because you're putting so much pressure on what they did to you, when you can literally pick yourself out of that muck, shake yourself off like it never happened. I'm not saying don't acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. That's part of healing. But don't get to this point where you're literally in that moment of terror and trauma. But look at the situation from a higher perspective, as if you were looking at yourself happening, and realize, yes, that was a shitty experience, but that doesn't have to be where you live. It's like you're living back into wherever you're at, 2020, or not 2020, but you're living back in 1985. You're living back in 2000. Who knows? 1985. I don't know. 60. I don't know. And just dust yourself off. Save yourself for once. And I realized once I literally got out of that negativity, it helped me, and I brainwashed myself with more positive. I'm not saying you're not going to have days where your depression goes down and you're literally sinking. Let that emotion fill. As this clouds, imagine clouds passing by. All right? That's how emotions are. They come and go. Pain and trauma comes and goes. It's only temporary, people. And, save yourself. Give that power back to yourself. Not in an egotistic way like, ooh, look at me. I've overcome so much trauma and survived so much crap from people. But just dust yourself off and take back your power. I feel like the more you spend time on your exes and what they did, or what you're not getting and you're not satisfied and blah, 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 it's just humble jumble stuff. It's literally plaguing yourself. It's literally spelling yourself in a way. And just be more empowered. When you couldn't save yourself at that time, when you couldn't stand up for yourself and speak your truth, and you knew you needed to speak your truth because maybe in some way they're abusive to you, go back to that time and save yourself. And like, Satch, I'm not going to be talked like that, bitch. I don't know. And I just feel like it really helped me overcome a lot of these traumas and past. Like I said, you'll have days where things will feel so depressing, when things are triggering, or when you feel like you're going through experiences where you can't seem to overcome something in the past. But that happens. It's almost like PTSD. You'll have those traumatic times. But once you feel it, once you go through it, heal yourself again. How many times have you healed yourself? It's a healing process. That's the thing. It's not just one time you're done. Life in itself comes and goes with the emotions and stuff. And I just feel like you need to return back to your center, and that's going back inside, healing yourself, loving yourself, accepting every part of yourself, and really acknowledging that you're only human, and it's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to sink low for a moment. But I just feel like people are just so obsessed with what their ex did that they're not even focused on themselves. They're just in that draining, and it's like you're giving power to your ex, when you should give power back to yourself and acknowledge that you have all the ability within you to make magic out of your life. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do the hard work where they just save themselves from all the trauma. And it looks like outside I see a bird. Anyways, maybe that's my time to close it out. Anyways, I hope that helps. I know it's going on and on, but I hope it helps someone out there. Anyways, just leave a comment if it helped, so I let know if it helped anyone. Anyways, bye-bye.